You could say Peter collects pockets of time from the First World War. But the Oscar-winning director has taken his hobby a little further than your average collector. So much so that he has to store it in a warehouse. And that's just part of it.
So do you sort of have people to source some of the artefacts that you collect, or do you?
Not particularly. I mean, I keep my eye on just adverts, and also there's a few people that you know that know me that know I'm interested in this stuff. So somebody might phone up and say, oh, there's a bloke who's got a Leyland truck for sale, you know up north, you know. So I get calls from people from time to time, but no, I don't have people going out there hunting for stuff, but we certainly keep our eyes open.
Sometimes you just keep an eye on eBay, like, oh, see what else is popping up.
Well, eBay is dangerous for me because if I go into eBay, I'm going to end up buying something. I mean, it's just going to inevitably happen. So I tend to stay away from eBay. I tend to stay away from eBay because otherwise it's a slippery slope. Yeah, it is.
Hidden away just down the road from Peter's production company is a warehouse that could make a museum jealous, if a museum could experience emotion, obviously. Pete Connor is the historian tasked with looking after Peter's collection and the man who's giving us a peek into part of it.
Are you ready for this?
I am ready, Pete.
You sure?
I am.
Okay, here we go.
It's huge, isn't it?
It's somewhat substantial. We just, as you go down, you'll just notice there's kind of a little theme in every little bay, but it's kind of a little bit higgledy-piggledy, which kind of adds to the excitement of the place because you keep finding things that you just weren't quite aware they were sitting there.
Some say it's the stories behind the artefacts that bring it to life.
Once you get into the trench, short club for hitting people, knocking them out, killing them.
That is not a nice ending, is it? Can I pick it up?
Yeah, go for it.
Oh, God, that's just so not ideal to come into contact with.
No, and I mean, you can see it's quite, in its own way, quite crude. Looks like they've found a bit of wood and they've just put sharp bits in it.
So they would have just made, the soldiers would have made these themselves?
Yeah, quite often they're just, trench made by somebody who wants to make it. Obviously, something like this is requires a little bit more skill. And manufacturing skill, but they can be just by anybody who felt the need to have one.
Some items in the collection are incredibly rare.
We do have out in the hallway, we have a recently acquired New Zealand pre-First World War tunic. I was told by another collector there's like 7 in known existence, so wow. Peter struggled to find one for quite some time. Then he's just sort of in the last few months acquired that. You come in and we get into the kind of the helmet section, or not helmet but hat section. So there's a lot of New Zealand hats there, and then a lot of flying hats from the Royal Flying Corps, RAF, American flyers, as well as a lot of very early war gas masks which just look absolutely terrible.
I was just thinking that I also have visions of like you and Peter just chilling out here. Let's just try the hats on, let's role play.
Well, you've got to be a little careful with some of this stuff. So like some of the gas masks and some of the British helmets actually as well are known to have asbestos in them.
Oh!
Yeah. So
I was like, let's just touch everything. Maybe let's not.
No. So just to sort of over here, we've got a lot of, up the top there, sort of German helmets for flying helmets. We've also got German hats, a variety of types. And then there's these sort of little leather face masks which were used in cold weather conditions. So I know this one here is like a sidecar person for riding along in a sidecar, things like that. I'm sure they got a variety of uses, including pilots, hence why they're in the collection. Because flying in an open seat biplane in the middle of winter would have been a pretty chilly experience, I'm sure.
Yeah, I bet. And that's going to stop any little bugs you don't want to eat in between lunch and dinner?
Well, protein is protein.
Well, that is true, Pete. You do make a valid point there. Yeah. So maybe that's why they moved on from that design.
Yeah.
Why do you think Peter is so passionate about collecting these kinds of things?
I know Peter, his passion for the First World War, I mean, he's obviously got a passion for planes, and he's also got a passion for the Gallipoli campaign because his grandfather served there, and so he just has a deep fascination to find out anything he can about it. And Peter not only wants to collect the artefacts, he wants to know everything he possibly can. So he's always looking for, say, diaries and letters and things like that to kind of help him understand the little details about the campaign. And that's what kind of makes working for Peter so exciting, is he's always worried about the history and trying to make the history as accurate as he possibly can. So as a historian, that's a great place to be working.
There's a few very focused things that I try to collect.
Peter spent his career creating escapism for the world through his films, and this world of the past that he's built is where he goes to escape.
So how much would you say your military interest has impacted on your film career?
Not much really. I mean, I have, it's something I've sort of, I won't say consciously done, but I can feel that I've been reluctant to chase after making like a war movie, because that, to me, I have a job to do, you know, a day job, if you like, making films. And what I value about you know, first the planes, the aircraft, and collecting artifacts and things, is I value the fact that that is a hobby, that is something that I can do that gets me my head out of the film stuff. Because once you're in a movie, you're in it, you know, 110%, and it's sort of like it can consume you. And sometimes at night time, just escaping from that and looking at some stuff or reading some books or something is a good escape. So off going for a flight on a plane. So you know, I've been a little bit protective and I thought that, well, the moment I make a big war movie and use all this stuff, then suddenly the two things, it's no longer a hobby, it's now just part of the film, and I've lost that little escape. That's what's in my head. I mean, I don't know whether it would be like that, but that's why, in a way, the They Shall Not Grow Old was a good war movie for me to make, because it was a documentary. It didn't need me to go out and recreate you know battle scenes. I was able just to restore the footage, which was another interesting challenge. So that was okay. That to me, if I was going to make a First World War film, I think that is probably my First World War film. You know, I don't have any plans to rush out and make a sort of a fictionalized film.
I know that They Shall Not Grow Old's completed now, but the work to digitise footage is still continuing. That's another example of the work that you guys are putting into preserving history.
Yeah, I mean, that's where Peter's incredibly generous, because, you know, he loves film, so he's sort of continuing to work, you know, even though he doesn't need to. There's no film reason to do that sort of thing. He's continuing to digitise it, and he's, you know, obviously fascinated by seeing what you can see in the films, because cleaning them up and everything means it reveals all sorts of things that were previously kind of obscured into the background.
So this is mostly uniforms then up here?
Through here we have a lot of the First World War German collection. So as you can see, there's lots of that kind of field grey colour. And uniform is a bit of a trick word in a sense, because it gives you the idea everything's exactly the same, but in reality it's not, because they're being manufactured by different people who have got their materials from a different source, and the dyeing process was slightly different, and then as they get worn they age slightly differently, and so you end up with all these subtle variations, and Peter's always interested in making sure that subtle variation is in his work.
Next time, I get a look at Peter's collection of World War I aircraft, over 70 of them, making it the largest in the world. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel.